that. But now we're live over here on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. I hope everyone's doing well. Still picking up a little feedback, but we're good to go. All right, I think we're good there. And guys, we're here. Hey, happy early Thanksgiving. Some of y'all might be watching from another part of the world. So if it's already that time, I don't even know does everyone celebrate Thanksgiving across the world or not
Nah,
really?
definitely not.
Not really, huh? I I guess that's just our U.S. centric mind thinking that other people actually give a damn about Thanksgiving or whatever holidays we celebrate over here. But regardless, guys, we're here. Good to see you, gentlemen. Again, we were just on the pregame, so we're just coming back. But again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy early Thanksgiving for those of you that are watching. Here for a Thanksgiving episode of The Good Life. Kabir's got a drink. He's ready to go. We are unprepared. Well, Stu is prepared. I only have water. It would not be the drink of choice right now, but it's just what I have. So we're gonna deal with it. But yeah, guys.
Text down for resources, man.
Ah,
Send
gotta.
the text out for resources.
I
See if you can
should.
get some backup.
I should, but I don't think my wife's gonna.
Yeah, come on, man.
Is there a bell?
Give a little bit more
I
credit.
need. I
You
need a
never
bet.
know.
I need a bet. She's literally gonna look at my text and be
I'll
like,
tell you what. She definitely will not respond to a bell. That is for sure. that might come with something else.
wise words spoken from the newlywed. Absolutely, she is not. She is not responding to a bell, and It'd be funny to see if she actually responded to a text. But regardless, we're still here, and we still have each other, hold each other company. Gentlemen, let's start this thing out real quick before we dive into the topic. Do you have a favorite Thanksgiving dish? Is there a dish that you're looking forward to? I know Stu, you're with parents, so like, is there a mom's favorite something? Is there like a
so many things? There's so many to pick from. I think I might have to go with corn pudding on this.
Corn pudding.
Oh, that's crazy. So, what's funny about corn pudding is I've had it maybe 2 or 3 times and I love it, but I've never made it. And I was actually looking and thinking about making it this year, but I decided not to. But that's so interesting that you would say that. Corn pudding is it's one of those it's up there, man. That's dope.
It's fire. And hey, to your credit, I'm pretty sure Black Friday and Cyber Monday may be celebrated internationally.
I can see that. Good old capitalism spreading around the world. Right? That's what that's about. But yeah, corn pudding. Corn pudding. Could be. What about you?
Yeah, corn pudding, man. That must have been the dish I had that I didn't know what it was, but it was pretty good. It had corn in it. I knew that. So that must have been what it is. Thank you. You guys know, I mean, like my parents didn't grow up with Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving has always been kind of funny in our household. But it is significant in our household in that it's when we arrived in the US the day before Thanksgiving. And a couple other things happen around Thanksgiving. So it's kind of we take that time to really be thankful for a lot of different things. So that's always been really cool for us. But obviously we didn't grow up with the food. Coming out of Ghana, like Thanksgiving is not a thing. There were no quote unquote Indians. Um, and but we definitely celebrated. We always got to have some jollof rice at any Ghanaian gathering. You got to have some jollof rice. So we do that. Are you guys frozen?
We still hear you.
Oh, okay. God, man, holding still like statues. Goodness gracious. I hope they can hear me, man. These guys moving.
For the amount of lives we do, that happens a lot. Sometimes I'll be looking at you guys and you'll just be stone faced, just like, and I'm like, hopefully they still are paying attention and hear me. But yeah,
Active listening. Thank you, Landmark.
That's it. That's it. That's it. We've all got it.
that's the word.
But yeah, so jollof rice definitely for sure. My mom will make a turkey. No, she doesn't really. We don't make turkey anymore because you know what? Turkey's not good. Not good. It's not good. Dry meat, it's just not good. Sorry, guys. It's not good.
Whoa,
Stop eating
dry?
that thing.
Who's
Yes,
cooking
it's
your
dry.
turkey?
Yes, it's dry. Yes, it's dry. Listen.
I think you gotta
Listen.
go to the chef.
Listen, no. I've tested this. I've had turkey that was really good, but it was still like, why do I need to smother this meat in all types of things for it to even taste good? That's an indication that maybe I shouldn't be eating this thing. So no, sorry guys, not good. Stop eating that turkey. Stop. It's overrated. Overrated. Sorry guys.
Even
Sorry.
the dark meat, because the dark meat's
Yeah.
where the moisture's at.
Listen, bro, dark meat all day. However, no, it's not good. Not good. So what my mom does, otherwise, if we do turkey, they'll cut it into pieces, like tiny pieces, and season it, right? And let it like they got like 2 or 3 layers. You know, first layer is season, second layer is love, third layer is go ahead and add some heat. You know, and it gets it real nice. But usually we actually do chicken or something like that. You know, that's what we used to a couple of years ago. My mom has been like more cognizant of, as she sees me eating the way I do. She actually cooks less meat or other stuff for me. So I like kind of if left to my own devices, my body gravitates towards carbs. Right? If left unchecked, right, it will gravitate towards carbs. So pastries, and my mother-in-law, amazing pastries. I ain't even gonna lie, like amazing. And she makes like 11 of them. So I save room. I save on the nasty turkey, the dry turkey. I save on that and save some room on that. Miss me with the what? Cranberry? No. Miss me with that cranberry. What is this? The mac and cheese? Nah, I guess the stomach bubbling. I might take 2 bites, you know. Miss me with the what else you got? What? Stuff. Huh? No. I'm good. The pastries, the pies. That's where you Americans shine, huh? The pastries, the pies. I'll take 4.
The pastries and the pies. That's where it's at. Right there with you. So interesting for me, I normally do the cooking. I normally do the cooking on Thanksgiving. I classically trained as a chef because I went to culinary school. I don't do it as a profession anymore. But what I do love to do is I still have a love for food and cooking and preparing it. And I do it for the family. So it's kind of like my day in the kitchen. And I mix it up. Could be I'm kind of like you. Turkey is dry. I've made a lot of turkeys. I've made a lot of turkeys, like just so you know. And again, in general, they come out relatively good if you brine it properly, right? Season it properly, baste it properly, all those things. It'll come out tasting good, but it's still dry as a meat, as like just it's still a little dry. That's why you need the gravy. That's why you need the sauce. That's why you need
inexplicable part of me that just wants to fight this so hard.
It's okay. We all come from different places. It's okay.
Oh, I know, but it's tough to argue with the chef. I need a 4th person on this chat right now. Somebody back me up. I don't know. Drop a comment. Who else likes?
I mean, the chef has spoken.
The chef has spoken.
Also,
and Aaron spoke. Aaron said,
"Aaron, you've always got my back, man."
No turkey for Aaron either, right?
Oh yeah.
He's more of the steak. Really, he's more of the steak guy, the churrasco, right? The flat meat, the
picanha.
There you go.
That's where it's at. I'll give you that.
So it's kind of it's 3-1. If anybody wants to drop something in the chat to help Stu out on this side, please feel free. If you're a turkey lover and you're just like that is just a moist piece of
no, you can't even say that. You can't even say that.
Somebody out there might really believe that, and it's fine if you do.
Listen, it is fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Just know you're incorrect on this one. We all gotta take an L. We all gotta take an L somewhere. This one right here, you're a little incorrect. That's all.
Look, I'm not going to bat on.
Oh no.
Okay, perfect. We got one. Thank you, Mrs. Cruz. So
Oh,
I'm not going to bat for white meat because there I will agree with you. That's where the gravy's got to go. It's the big chunks with a lot of gravy on it. But the dark meat, man, the dark meat's got the juices.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm that way with chicken. I'm that way with chicken. I'm a dark meat guy for chicken for sure, and just in general, I think it does give good flavor. But to answer the question, uh, I actually it's funny because I look forward to all of the sides. I actually could go without meat. I'm like you could be like I actually could go without meat on Thanksgiving, and I just stick with a traditional sides platter: mac and cheese, yams, green beans, collard greens, you know, stuffing, cranberry, all of it goes together. If I had to pick one, my mac and cheese is delicious. I love my
mhm.
mac and cheese.
Okay.
I love it. And again, classically trained, so I make a bechamel sauce. If any chefs are listening out there,
Ooh,
you make it,
ooh,
you make a, you make a bechamel, and then
mm.
you add all the cheeses. You add all the
Yes,
cheeses that
sir.
you want. I try to go with some form of an exotic blend. I normally
You
don't
heard
go
that. Mm-hmm.
Kraft
That
or
shit from Morocco.
Velveeta. That's right. None of
Mm.
the Kraft, Velveeta, or any of that processed cheese. But I'll
Take
go
that
some.
shit out of here.
I'll go cheddar. I'll go Gouda. I'll put in anything that I can find, just some nice different cheeses, and that mac and cheese comes out fire every time. So mac and cheese is what I look forward to because I don't make it often. I actually never really make it, to be honest. Every
Just
once in a
Thanksgiving.
really it's just Thanksgiving special times. Randomly, if I have a bunch of cheeses in the fridge that I just like, we got to get rid of these, I'll make it. But look forward to that mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, guys.
Chris, I hear mac and cheese ships really well in the mail. Just to let
That's
you
it.
know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
We can.
I've heard this as well.
Maybe we can find out, Stu. Maybe we can.
I've heard
Maybe
this as well.
we will see. We will
No.
see. But either way, guys, for everyone that's listening, again, we appreciate you joining in and tuning in again for another week. Uh, we're now doing this at the beginning of the show. We want you to sign up for our email list. You see it on your screen on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. bit.ly/email TGL. That gets you on our email list. Guys, we have some really exciting things coming up in 2022. The guys here, we've been planning for you and making sure that after doing all of these episodes where we're just giving you free kind of value, information, things to help you get to that good life, design the life that you want, we figured we'd put it all in a format where we can actually impact you in a 4 or 5 hour session where you come in and you can really get equipped with what you need moving forward. So we got more details coming up, but if you want to jump on that list early, right there, bit.ly/email TGL, that's going to get you to our landing page. You're going to be able to sign up for the email list, and then you're going to start getting some of these notifications over the next month to really take your life to the next level in 2022. So we wanted to do that before we get going. But today's show, because it's Thanksgiving and it's that time of the year, we want to give you some tips, some tools, some things to pay attention to, because you're probably going to see some family members that you like or don't like. You're probably going to be introduced to some eating or some food that maybe hasn't been in your eating repertoire over the past weeks or months. There are probably going to be some things that affect you differently when you're around and in these environments. So we just want to come and kind of give you some tips, some things to think about this holiday season around these topics of health, wealth, mindset, relationships, happiness, all of those things. We want to give you something today in these next 40, 45 minutes to allow you to say, okay, if you're walking into a situation with family that maybe isn't the greatest or is not something that you are looking forward to because there might be some problems or some problem people, let's find some ways to get around that, right? And I want to open it up with Stu, because Stu, you said something in our pregame that you had a client, someone that you were talking to that really felt like he was kind of going to war a bit, right? Like stepping it back into this environment. So what are some of those areas what are some of those areas that you're seeing or that you can give people to say, hey, these are some things to watch out for, but really tie it into that client that you had?
Yeah, for sure. So the specific client that was working through this today has a particular family member that will often get like, they'll just unleash a lot of anger and potential just disrespect towards a lot of other people in the family. And it's a situation where everyone else feels as though they have to kind of sit there and take it. Um, there were even notions on how, older relatives in the family had become so accustomed to this over the years that they just let a lot of it go. And, he was kind of getting to that point, but there was still a lot of him that wanted to try and stand up for himself and stand up for the others and not have this. So I think in this particular topic, like learning not to take things personally from the individual family members that you may have that just bring a lot of chaotic energy to the table. In a you might only see them once or twice a year. While you're there, trying to trying to manage your expectations for how it's going to go based on previous history can be a really good way of approaching a situation and knowing, what, person X is going to be there. There's a chance this is going to happen because it happens every year. Visualizing when that may happen, like visualizing in advance of that and taking note, like, okay, in the past, when you think to these situations, where do you begin to feel this like energy increase in your body? Like they're putting out a lot of energy. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it tension? Like how would you describe it? What are some things you can do now in like a simulated capacity to try and release these? Could you be clenching your fists under the table? Could you be just like, moving your legs up and down? Could you just be focusing on your breath? Could you be actively trying to zone in for those that do a lot of meditation and breath work and body scans? Could you be actively trying to like zone in and releasing the tension there, knowing perhaps a game plan for later? The game plan that this client came up with is he knows that he's going to deal with this tension while it's in the moment, and then later he's going to have some type of dialogue release with his siblings to help deal with some of this. So having a game plan ahead of time can be super useful, because when you're in the heat of the moment, if you don't have a plan, you really don't know how you're going to react.
That's good. That's good. And I think that's going to help so many people because your family, right? Like, their tendencies, the people that you're going to see. So do you walk in with a game plan? Do you walk in knowing, okay, if dad starts going off the handle, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my cool. I'm going to talk to my brother afterwards or whatever you said, right? Like those are the things to be mindful of as you walk into that space. And I think a lot of us have to be mindful of that going into Thanksgiving, going into these holidays of like, man, if I come across my sister and she's on one tonight, you know what I mean? She maybe had too much to drink, or this is just her high horse and she wants to, have this conversation. Here's how I plan on handling it. Here's how I plan on going about it. I think that's going to help with people's peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
And I totally I love the idea of having a plan. I think it's also an indication or maybe an opportunity to check, how much have I progressed since the last time I saw cousin Mark?
Yeah.
Right. How much have I progressed? The two things I'll put out there, and I'll put them right out there so we can talk about them, is first and foremost is I think watching the breath without saying too much. One of the most powerful methods and vehicles you can utilize to stay present during these times, and also to regulate the emotion, right? Because what we're really talking about is a sympathetic, parasympathetic response, right? We don't want to be in situations that we're out of control. That's really what we're talking about. So training for that long term, hopefully over the year, right? Doing hot and cold showers, cleaning your gut, keeping your system clear, right? All the different things we talk about all the time. But in this particular, so that, have you been doing that? And if not, you can still utilize it in the moment, right? Square breathing, right? Look, you can just YouTube it. You can also do some slight breath holds, just YouTube it. And in terms of actually watching the breath, right, being progress or an opportunity for you to see how far you've gone, it's not that serious. At the end of the day, it's gonna be all right. You know, don't I think don't try to expect something new out of someone that's been showing you the same thing for 5 years, and maybe you'll have a little bit more peace with yourself and enjoy yourself instead of like worrying about what's going to come out of cousin Mark's. I don't know why it's cousin Mark, but shout out cousin Mark, or cousin Kwame or whatever, right? You
Correct.
know, uh, cousin Quim, and really holding expect knowing who people are and just accepting them from who they are instead of trying to. I think a lot of frustration comes in this moments from trying to control things that we know we can't control.
It's huge, huge. Can you touch a little bit more on how some? I know
Yeah,
they can utilize YouTube as looking for ways to monitor their breath or control or do this breath work type stuff.
sure.
Can you elaborate a bit on it?
Yeah. So you can YouTube right now something called square breathing, and it'll show up. It'll give you a diagram to follow on screen, and it'll tell you exactly how to breathe and take you to a breathing exercise. Really great. It's something that's actually utilized by the SEALs in dire situations, right? So say they're caught in no man's land or caught in a situation where they have to kind of wait to be rescued, or maybe out at sea or something like that. How do they regulate their sympathetic parasympathetic systems during that time? And square breathing is something that's taught. So you can just look it up and practice that, from right now. You're seeing, you know, Auntie Julie, right? You're seeing Auntie Julie next tomorrow, and you know how she gets. She's gonna say what? She's gonna comment on your weight. She's gonna ask you, what do you do for a living? Right? She's gonna also say how things going with your husband. Why isn't he here? Right? All right. She's gonna ask you. These things are gonna happen with Auntie Julie, right? So when these things are coming, you'll see the signs. Your palms will start sweating. Your chest get tighter. Your backside might clench a little bit. You feel me? So so when that happens, start your breathing exercise. That's just you going out of control again. That's it. And I think that has helped me tremendously in situations like this. And I think, try it out. Let us know. Maybe it helps.
I believe it definitely will help. It'll help a lot of people. And I credit both of you guys in just this forum for getting me to understand some of those things. And breath is what we can control. It's the central part of us, right? It's the one thing that we can control. So um, making sure that you're aware of it and it brings you back to this, for lack of better terms, a centered place. It gets
Present.
you through. Yeah, allows you to stay present, and like you said, could be like you start to realize it's not a big deal. Like this isn't a big deal.
Right.
This isn't a big thing. This isn't something I need to go out of control or not
Right.
be able to kind of understand what I'm going through at that time. So focusing on your breath is important. It's important.
Yeah. And
It is.
utilizing that tool, for example, putting us in a position where you're realizing that a wolf isn't chasing you. Okay. Aunt Timothy, Tabitha,
We're gonna
Tabitha.
have a lot of
Let's go.
names. We
Let's
gotta
go with
figure out.
Tabitha. Let's go with Tabitha. Let's go with Tabitha. Right. She's gonna say what she's gonna say, but guess what? At the end of the day, nothing's gonna change. Nothing is gonna change. Think how much better will your experience be if you approach it in that way, right? Just stick to your guns, right? If you're in a weight loss journey, it's something I talk to my clients quite a bit about. If you're in a weight loss journey, if you know whatever, you're gonna get everything from same person, everything from like, oh, you still look big to like, oh, you've lost a lot of weight, but why are you eating that mac and cheese though? While the person is proceeding to stuff their face with mac and cheese. And they are also not in great shape. So you ask yourself, wait, but I lost weight. So why are you asking me why am I eating mac and cheese when you're eating mac, right? So those type of situations are going to happen. They're going to drive you insane because that's what people do. That's what families do.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Stu.
Yes, that's a real situation.
So You touched on the hot and cold showers, which you put me onto,
Yeah.
and it's so helpful because it helps for anybody out there who hasn't tried it. Like when you feel that change in temperature, your entire nervous system lights up, like your whole spine, like just all the nerve endings, etc. And if you pay attention to that feeling, you're gonna notice that feeling presents itself when you get excited into that fight or flight state. Just like Khabib was mentioning, there's not a wolf chasing you. It's just somebody who feels the need to say something, and it just aggravates the crap out of you. Like recognize when you feel that like nervous system response and all that energy, that you are in a position to either let that energy control you and consume you, or you can go into a calming state by focusing on the breath, by doing other things. Like begin to pay attention to these symptoms so you can catch it. Because if you catch yourself before other people realize you're getting angry, you have complete dominance over the situation. And we
Yeah.
just lost Chris.
Oh, right. Okay. I was thinking maybe I'm crazy, but yeah, seems like we lost Chris. Um, but in terms of that being the case, man, when you start to look at a lot of literature on longevity, which one thing you start to realize is that at least, the research should gearing towards or is indicating that, hey, destruction of the telomeres or the telomere caps is what leads to essentially us deteriorating away, right? And I attribute that, or that basically means essentially being in states of dis-ease. That's what we're describing. Being in states of dis-ease, states where we're holding anxiety, states where we're jumping all over, states where our heart rate is really high too often, is going to lead to the destruction of the end of those telomeres. So when we're talking about longevity, life, quality of life, etc., taking these things on to be in a constant state of ease, especially in times of high stress, like holidays, etc., not only is going to allow you to have a better experience immediately, but it's also going to lead to an increase in your life. What's up, my brother? Oh, wait, did you get a power outage?
All of our power just went out, and I'm looking out my windows and I see our whole neighborhood is dark. So pretty sure that just happened to everybody.
So what do you
Yep.
want, like a hotspot now with your laptop?
Yep. Always got a backup, guys. Always got a backup for a backup for a backup. Always prepared. Proper preparation.
Way to adapt.
That's it, man. We're doing it.
Yes,
Go.
sir.
That was less than a
Yes,
minute,
sir.
man. Way to be ready.
Yes, sir.
Always ready. Go. Keep going. Don't let me interrupt.
Yeah. So I was saying that to linking a couple of things together. First, we know that essentially when we look at longevity studies, I'll say Western terms, right? What we're looking at is destruction of the telomeres, right? And when we equate that to that being how do the end caps of the telomeres get destroyed? They are destroyed in states of stress or high stress, states of dis-ease, right? A broad definition of disease. So to not only when you take on these sort of breath exercises or ways to bring your body back to harmony and out of these heightened states where it's producing chemicals that are helpful but are also very costly, right? That's leading to the destruction of the ends of the telomere. So you're not only improving your current like quality of interaction, like how you actually enjoy Thanksgiving, but you're also improving your longevity and your ability of your body to regulate itself in high stress. So, long story short, it will literally save your life to go ahead and learn how to bring your body back to a state of ease or harmony in these highly stressful moments.
It's huge. That's huge. And I kind of missed a little bit of what you're saying, but uh, yeah, again, these are the areas that we continue to grow in and learn about ourselves, and so that when we're in these situations, we can improve, we can get better, right? So awesome. Uh, what else do we need to? There was something that you said right before my power went out, and then I don't remember. But either way,
Yeah.
we're giving tips, guys, for those people that are just joining now. We're giving tips on what you can do in this holiday season, in this Thanksgiving time, to really be able to deal with some of the issues or situations that you're going to face. When if we talk a little bit deeper, could be, I'll throw it back at you to talk about the health side of things. Take that person that is a little bit that is paying attention to what they're consuming. They haven't been eating in this manner, and there might be some, to touch on what we talked about last week, shame, some guilt when they go and eat that mac and cheese, or when they eat that piece of pie. There might be some guilt there. What can you give to them for people that are actively paying attention to it, but not to get overwhelmed or to over consume in this holiday season?
Yeah, so I was thinking how to, organize this. And I think, rather than going through, because you could be in different situations, right? Whether you're in a situation where you've been living an unhealthy lifestyle and you've made the decision to go ahead and clean up your lifestyle. And that may be contrary to the culture that's been established in your family, which is probably why that got you there in the first place, right? Or maybe you're in a situation where you've been living, let's say, a very healthy lifestyle, and maybe you fell off recently, and now you're facing a situation where you're going to be asked questions, right? So that's a situation as well. So whatever that situation is, I think it divides down into maybe three categories. We'll see if it's three or not, but I think it's three. First and foremost, the relationship with yourself, the conversation with self. Then it's conversation with the others at the table. Then it's kind of coming back and looking at what is the greater picture of everything else. So relationship with yourself, I think, is what is the conversation that you're having with yourself, right? Are you being overly critical to yourself? Are you holding yourself to standards that don't make any sense? Are you putting yourself in a situation where you're going to fall inevitably and then blaming that situation? And I think the biggest thing we can watch is the conversation with ourselves, right? Whether you eat that mac and cheese or not, what is the conversation with yourself? So looking at that, and that conversation could come in so many different flavors, right? Beating yourself up, or like lying to yourself in a lot of ways, right? So I'll say be honest with it. Make a firm decision. Hey, listen, have a plan. I'm going to consume this food and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to also get back on track, or whatever it is that situation is. But make a decision to actually do the thing you're going to do, not do it and have shame or guilt surrounding it. Chris, you're going to say something?
No, yeah, I was just going to say, man, that's something that Stu and I had just talked about on the pregame tonight, of that expectation that you have for yourself, and then how you talk to yourself. Is it this forceful, like, I can't believe I did that? Or are you really talking bad about yourself? And because of that, you're not going to be able to stay present and enjoy the moment and enjoy the experience you're having? Or are you giving yourself some grace? Are you giving yourself some, the ability to just kind of step outside yourself and say, hey, you know what? Tonight, I'm staying present in this area. Like you said, going in with a plan, and then doing exactly what you said you were going to do, and then patting yourself on the back for following your plan. And that comes in how you're communicating to you, and how hard you are on yourself, and watching that, the tone. I think Stu had said that in the pregame, watching that tone of how you're communicating to yourself. I think it's just something for everyone to be aware of.
For sure. To piggyback on that, tone is one of like the most perhaps not obvious, but it's one of the most easiest things once you begin to pay attention to with your inner dialogue. What is the tone? Like, is there aggressive? Is there some type of shaming? Is there is it encouraging? Is it compassionate? So for me, I like to break it down, like probably the three simplest ones would be, what is the tone? What is the word choice? And what is the resulting feeling? So all of these three things, like if you're not exactly sure how to go about monitoring how you converse with yourself, tone, word choice, resulting feeling, because that's how you begin to pick up on, okay, am I on board with this? Would I speak to somebody else like this? Would I speak to a child like this? Because at the end of the day, You want to be living in a good spot. This is a holiday. This is a celebration time. So enjoy it. And like Kabir's saying, like stick to the plan. I love that commonality in what we're talking about here. Whether it's dealing with the mental game and dealing with family members or dealing with food, have a plan.
It's good. That's good. Go ahead, Kabir. I know you got a couple more.
Yeah, and in terms of that, also the relationship with others, right? So this is like the number one thing clients run into is it's simply comments, like comments from mother, father, brother. So like they are carrying so much baggage. They are like wound up. You know, you take a spring and you wound it up, wound it up, wound it. They are wound up. They've already played that conversation in their head like 1,000 times. They already know how that thing is gonna go. They already know that, you know, mom's gonna say, "Oh my goodness, why you have rips in your jeans?" Or like, you know what I'm saying? So I think consciously going into the situation with a fresh plate, and what I mean by that is not like, oh, they're not, maybe they won't do it this time. No, they're going to do it, but it's not going to impact me in this way. I'm still going to stay where I'm going to stay, and I think that piece of it takes the it's kind of like you die once in real life, but you actually die like 1,000 times in your head type of situation. It takes that out of the way. The anxiety leading up to, or the anxiety after, it takes that away. And when it happens, you're like, you know what? You have more energy to actually go ahead and deal with it at that time. All right. So I think that's really huge in dealing with family. And you know what? Sometimes we just got to realize things aren't going to be perfect. It is kind of what it is, you know? It is
It
kind of
is
what it
what
is.
it
It's not about what
is.
happens.
It
It's
is
about,
what it is.
That
It
was on the
you
is.
know,
pregame
yeah,
too. Yeah.
it is what it is. Family, who they are. Family, that's it. It's family. Can't get rid of them. You know what I mean? At least not legally, right?
So
You
I,
know?
I, I want to piggyback off that because you just crushed it. You know, a lot of individuals who are very anxious about these family interactions is your worry about something you cannot control. That's like the biggest cause of anxiety. You cannot control what your family members are going to do, but you can't control what your response will be. You may not believe that right now, but if you begin to try and reshape that thought, to it doesn't matter what Tabitha, Mark, Julie, all these individuals, it doesn't matter what they're doing because you're becoming more and more ironclad. And Kabir brought up the great point, the way to measure on an annual basis, how good am I at responding? I haven't seen much evidence that Mark's going to change, but I've been looking at evidence in me that I'm changing, that I'm getting better at this. Where's your
Yeah.
focus at?
That's good. That's good. Go ahead, Kabir.
I'll say this last one as well, man. It's okay to have fun. You don't have to survive the situation, my friends. It's okay to create your own story, to write your own situation. It's all right. Parents are gonna be fine. Brothers and sisters are gonna be fine. It's fine. It's all right. You can write your own story in that situation. You want to have fun, you go ahead and have fun in that situation. And let the concerns go.
I love that. I love that.
Even if you fall off track on the health side of things,
That's it. Have fun.
you can get up
Fun.
again.
Fun is such a huge part of life. I don't think we pay attention to it as much as we need to sometimes. I speak personally, right? I don't take as much time to have fun. I do my best to stay present, but I don't always have fun with it. And like you said, Kabir, we get a chance to write that story. Right? We get a chance to narrate our own lives and choose which way to handle a situation. And we do always have that choice. We always have that choice, but making sure you're paying attention to enjoying it, having fun, smiling, laughing. Those types of things are incredibly important. Incredibly important. Whatever face
Gorgeous.
you just paid.
That must have been cousin Marcus.
That's funny.
Oh
So
man. So go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you guys, what are some of the things that you guys either struggle with the most during the holidays when it comes to like everything we're talking about?
Falling into old patterns.
Mhm.
I have personally developed a lot when it comes to how to respond to different situations, but the vast majority of this work happens very far away from home. Literally 4 states away from home, in social settings, in work settings. And when I come back home, I am, when we're around certain people for an extended period of time, we we co-regulate our nervous system with those individuals. And what I notice is sometimes when I come all the way back home to my parents, I'm still co-regulated with them in a certain way. Like my nervous system reacts, my default reactions to my parents, and many of you may have seen this before. The way you talk to your siblings versus the way you talk to your coworkers is very different. Well, imagine like the same thing happens with your parents. If you've done a lot of like healing and work away from home, you may notice that there's a part of you that wants to fall into old habits. Try and be cognizant of that. It goes hand in hand with making a plan. Make a plan that you are going to maintain your standards of how you respond, how you protect yourself, how you show up, how you communicate, just like you would in your traditional social settings. Try and bring that back. It may leave you more vulnerable in some places, which is why we've talked about some of those preventative mechanisms. But just be aware that sometimes when you go back to the people that you were raised around, you may be touching on some inner child wounds or some old habits that may catch you off guard.
Good to note. That's good. That's good stuff. I'll tell you on my side, I don't have a big family. So this has never been the relationship side of the holidays has never really been a big thing for me. I, now that I'm, been on a health journey, this is more about kind of like you said, Stu, falling back into old habits, but less on the like personal or like interpersonal side. It's more on the eating and what's acceptable in the family and all of those types of things. But in general, I haven't struggled with a lot of these family type of situations just because I have a small one. I'm an only child. My mom, right, single mom, raised by my mom and grandma. Unless we get close to my wife's side, who has more siblings and more family, but they're all spread out all over. We don't really have a lot of this type of dialogue, conflict, environmental things. So that's just it on my side. I do want to touch on though something that other people might deal with when it comes to what we're talking about tonight on the money side of things. A lot of times we don't know how much our family and people around us influence our financial decisions as well, and the things that we think about or the things that we choose to do financially. Two things I'm going to throw out of things that you should pay attention to this holiday season, specifically this holiday season. Inevitably, if you do have a big family or you have a bunch of people that you're going to see, somebody's going to talk to you about some form of cryptocurrency investment, something. It's going to come up. It is a hot topic right now. We all hear the joke about like our brother-in-law that knows everything about some form of finance or financial.
Marcus.
Good old Marcus, right? Somebody that you're gonna be sitting with is gonna talk to you about it. So never feel like, and this is the money point, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. I think that's the saying, right? The comparison
Yep.
is the thief of joy. So when you start comparing yourself financially to what you're seeing on Thanksgiving or over the holiday season, just be very careful. Be aware that your financial plan, your financial goal, the things that you want financially are not the same things that your family wants financially. So even if they happen to give you some form of investment advice, stock tips, cryptocurrency tip, something about those, if ask all the questions you need, but don't feel pressured into having to invest into something that you don't know anything about, or feel like somebody's getting ahead, and you have that FOMO we talked about before, that fear of missing out on something. Don't get caught up in that peer pressure and in that comparison, because I see that happen a lot once we get around family during these times and the conversations start flowing. Be aware of everyone's financial habits are different. Everyone's financial goals are different. So you don't have to feel like you need to do what everyone else or someone else is doing in your family. So you guys have any take on that?
I think that's a good one. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great one. Live your life, not theirs. Right. So that is one that I have to remind myself of constantly, is to live my life, not theirs.
It's huge. It's a huge, huge point. Stu?
Yeah, well, let's see. Having started my own business, being okay with letting go of some assets in the process, and being raised by parents that want nothing more than to see continued growth in assets. Like anything short of continued growth is like complete collapse of civilization. Like I have to do that exact same thing that could be just mentioned. Like I have different priorities than theirs. I have the right to use and allocate and spend and invest my money where I see fit. And I think what's a really awesome segue of what you just mentioned is this comparison thing. I have a note here. I wanted to bring this up. This comparison piece may not always be something that you are doing. Just as Kabi alluded to earlier, it may be a relative that's comparing your situation to somebody else. Like, oh, why don't you have the same job as your cousin? Or why don't we have this and this and that? So just, when it comes to comparison, like your choices are your own with what to do with your money, with how to eat your food, with how to take care of your health. Just remember that you have a separate identity. Your identity is only as tied to your family as you let it. So good call on bringing up the comparison piece.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I appreciate that. Everybody's gotten the comment. Well, your cousin Theodore works for Capital One Team Management.
We gotta get a book of names here, bro. We gotta get a book of names. Like that's gonna be key. Get a book of names on this episode.
And if you want us to include somebody's name, please put that in the chat. We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Even your Uncle Denzel. No, not Denzel. Denzel.
Yes, even Uncle Denzel. He may, right? Like he may have a comment, or again, other people comparing you and where you're going. This happens for anyone that's an entrepreneur. If you don't come from a family of entrepreneurs, if there's no one in your family that stepped out and said, I choose to build a business and not have a job, well, that immediately gives backlash and push. You're going to get a ton of pushback. And, do you think this is the right way to go? And how are you going to do this? And a lot of those types of things, be mindful of. You don't have to live their life. You have a plan. You have a plan for your life, your financial life, your health life, your spiritual life, your mindset. You have a plan. So as long as you know your plan, you don't have to feel influenced or persuaded by someone in the family that may think differently about what you're doing. So that's the first point. Second thing about the money side, I touched on this a little bit in the pregame, and we talked about this last week, that word shame and guilt and all those things, those emotions that start popping up. This happens a ton in the holiday season. I see it a lot when it comes to gift giving. Now, it doesn't always happen Thanksgiving, but we're going into the holidays. We're going into December and Christmas time and all those things. And I have to have this conversation with clients to let them know that, listen, there's nothing wrong with limiting how much money you spend for gifts. if the only way your family knows you love them or that you care about them is because you buy them some lavish gifts, then you have to start really reevaluating and thinking, do I really want that love? Is that really something I have to prove to other people? And I sit down with people that they're working on a budget, they're in their process of saving money or getting out of debt or whatever that is, because they have their own financial plan. And the holidays come around, and Uncle Marcus, Uncle Denzel, right?
Denzel.
Uncle Denzel is dropping all types of money on people, and giving all these lavish gifts, and you feel maybe a little less than because you bought them a book this year, or you bought them something under $20 just because you're on a budget. But I'm here to tell you, don't feel like you have to, again, compare yourself or have any shame around the fact that you have a financial plan, and this year not going to be this way forever, but this year you can't do it, can't afford it. You don't want to put it out. You might be able to afford it, but it goes against your plan. When people have to save extra for the holidays, it's like, well, how important is saving that extra to give it to people to make them see that they love you or you love them, versus you putting that in your emergency fund or knocking out some debt or putting it into an investment that you have already committed to. Just be aware that in this holiday season, there's a lot of that happens. And I want to remove all that shame and all that guilt and all that stuff from you to say, it's okay to follow your financial plan and not feel like you have to give these lavish gifts and shower your entire family with something to make them feel special. And it breaks your bank, or more, more dire is if you're going into debt for these things. We see this happen a lot of times. People start running up the credit cards during this time. Yeah, you might get some points back, you might get some cash back, but at the end of the day, you're going into debt. If you can't afford to pay off that bill next month, then you probably should reevaluate the types of gifts you're buying. But the gift giving thing is a big one. You guys have any thoughts on the gift giving side?
I think it's, realizing just how commercialized it all is should help, or for me at least, it helps in like choosing how much I'm part of it, right? So I actually do I only do books, bro. I do books and experiences. So if I'm either doing a book, or if I can afford it, I'm gonna get you a ticket to that you want to go somewhere or whatever. I just think those are gifts that are sort of worth it. Otherwise, what are unless it's something specific that is going to have a big impact on that person's life and it's within your means. Books are great. Sometimes the best thing you can do is introduce somebody to a concept that can change their life, right? And don't underestimate the power of a handwritten, created card, right? So add in thought, substituting thought for or take out some of the money and put in some more thought is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Very well put. I think oftentimes marketing, media, the sales, the signs around all the stores, etc., have people just straight up forgetting that the whole point of this is to see your family. Like, you showing up is going to mean so much to the people that are not really bought into this whole thing. Like, you just being there, you bringing a dish, or you're just flying in from out of town, that costs a lot of money already, just being there. One of my favorite things to do is travel to see somebody, because even if I don't necessarily have a gift with me, they're like, man, you gave me your time. And you put enough money in to actually get here to this place where I wanted to see you, where I invited you to join me. And yeah, the book idea is fantastic. The experience one, that's a very nice touch. I like that. The ticket somewhere. Like, at the end of the day, just remember what this is all about. Like, they're going to remember that gift, that new toy, for how long? Until they dispose of it. But the fact that they get to look back at Christmas and see the family photo or think back and know that you were present is what this is all about.
That's right. That's right. Most of us can't remember the gift that we received 3 years ago from Uncle Joe. We have no idea.
Definitely not Uncle Marcus.
Definitely not Uncle Marcus.
Dude, he'll
That
get you a
guy.
used fishing rod. You know what I mean?
That's it.
But yeah, there was this one year, the quick story. There was this one year, I can't remember what birthday, but I was a teenager. And I had these, I secretly really wanted these like iPad, but I didn't really ask because I knew I probably wouldn't be able to get it. So I was like, man, I really want an iPad. And then somebody got me like this nice gift. It was like a rectangular box, really nice. I was like, oh, who was it? It was Matt Thompson, Uncle Matt. Uncle Matt. God, I'm like, oh, Uncle Matt came through with the iPad. I didn't want to get too excited, so I held it down, opened the package, got there. I was like, yeah, I felt the box. I was like, yeah. Then I looked a little bit closer. It was a journal. It was a journal. This man got me a journal instead of an iPad. I was like, bro, really? But journal would have changed my life at that point if I knew how to use it. Right. So instead of the iPad. So, I did not pick up that journal until about like 3 or 4 years later when I really needed it in a different part of my life. So
yeah, but it came in handy. And that's again, great story about just getting gifts and receiving them and knowing that it was the thought. What was his name? Uncle Tim?
Matt Thompson. Matt Thompson. Shout out Matt Thompson.
Yeah, shout out to Matt, Uncle Matt. He obviously knew something or had some foresight to say, hey, this is actually something that can benefit your life. Just like as you give a book or I've given books, I know that this is going to benefit your life. You might not like it right now. It might not be your prized gift for the season, but it's going to bless your life because it is the thought that counts. That's where that saying comes from. It's the thought. It doesn't have to be about the money. It's about the thought. It's about what you put behind that to go out and make that happen. Same thing like you said, Stu, just even traveling with somebody, even taking the time away from your business or away from work, traveling. I was at the post office today, and the guy that was the the teller, I don't know, whatever they're called. The guy that works at the post office was like, oh, I'm driving. He asked me, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I was like, oh, staying pretty local. And he was like, well, I got to drive and see the family, but it's just a 1-day trip, right? It's like a 4-hour drive one day, and then I got to turn right back around and come back to work type of thing. And I was like, good luck. But like at the end of the day, at least you get a chance to go spend that time with your family for the night, and enjoy that night. And he was like, yeah, I will. It's just the drive, that's like 8 hours and it's like a quick turnaround. So I don't even know if it's worth it. And I was like, well, seeing your family is going to be worth it, right? And they'll appreciate it too, because they know you had to go right back to work. And so for a lot of people, it's really just the thought that you said, you know what, I'm going to take this time. I'm going to show up. And that's all that a lot of times your family actually needs. So let's wrap this thing up, guys. You want to each of you give kind of one last tip, maybe it's something that we did go over or something that we didn't go over, as people walk into this Thanksgiving tomorrow and into this holiday season. It's one thing you want to leave them with, or that you want them to think about. Whoever wants to start, you go.
I guess I'll jump in. So I touched on it earlier, but don't take things personally. You don't know what tools your older relatives especially are equipped with to handle their emotions. You don't need to have your identity associated with their comments. And I think the final thing would be take a moment just to elaborate that. Like, you don't know where they're coming from. Like, just take a moment to look at their life and see what they may be bringing to the table. They may not communicate in the same way or have the same standards as you, but it's up to you whether or not you let their actions affect you.
Beautiful. I'll say, stay present with your breath. Like we talked about, And you don't have to eat all day. You can fast. You know, you can fast a little bit until it get there. You can airplane your way in. You can still feel decent, feel good actually. Day after, you know, it's not a badge of honor to be talking about how much we stuffed ourselves the day before. You know, it's kind of like you can think about it. It's a frat bro talking about how much beer he drank the day before. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. Right. So come on, guys. Let's normalize like you know, yes, enjoying yourself, but like you you didn't. It's like you did it wrong if you didn't destroy your colon. Okay, no, let's stop doing that. Let's stop doing that. And all right, God, you should have seen what came out of me. Oh God, I'm like, bro, it's not. It's not necessary. And you will enjoy it more. You'll enjoy it more, actually. You know. So yeah, that's what I'll leave with.
I think those are both great. Yes, let's normalize not over consumption, overstuffing yourself. That's not something that we want to continue. The one thing I'll leave everyone with: remember, Thanksgiving, holidays. This is really a celebration. This is really about gratitude, staying thankful for things. Gratitude seems like the word of the day. I was talking to some other people about it earlier, but it's just something for all of us to stay mindful of during this time. Stay grateful. Grateful that you have a family. Grateful that you have food. Grateful, you can be grateful for so many small things. That a lot of the things that we talked about today on the show is really about troubleshooting or really just getting through some of the tougher moments or the environments that you walk into. But let's not forget, stay grateful. Flood your mind, flood your body with gratitude, to know that, man, you're in a great place. Just the fact that you have family, that you have people to talk to, you have people to fellowship with, you have people that do love you, whether they show it in different ways or they've personally grown or not. Stay grateful, and let that gratitude kind of guide the rest of your holidays and your Thanksgiving specifically. So that's all we got, guys. It's a nice holiday show. It's a nice Thanksgiving show for everybody. We're coming back next week. Again, we're here every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. Today was episode 43. Next week coming in episode 44. Coming up on the new year. And again, for those of you that are watching, go ahead and sign up for our email list. Go ahead and get to that landing page because 2022 is coming. That's right. It's right down there at the bottom. 2022 is coming. We got some really exciting things planned for you. We want all of you to be a part of it. If you've been tuning in and listening and watching and commenting and all those things, join us. Join us in the new year so we can really make 2022 a great year, to stay focused and actually get to that good life and really live the life that we are designing that allows us to have health, wealth, great relationships, peace, joy, great mindset, great spiritual life. Let's keep pushing for those things, guys. And until next week, I'm gonna sign off for the good life. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there. We'll check you guys next week.
Take care, guys.
Peace out.